So Wargaming have decided that they're going to bring in a new vehicle into World of Tanks console in the next week, along with a free vehicle that you can pick up as well. So what is this new premium? What is it all about? It kind of looks like an artillery to a degree, and of course it's playing in Cold War. Now the new Weasel 1A1 TOW is a ATGM only vehicle, so you could almost call it an artillery piece in the detente era, and of course it only fires ATGM, so I'm essentially gonna presume that the TOW is a TOW missile, and of course we can see what the statistics of this vehicle are about, and of course we can have a look at Wargaming's video. I mean, you can see it on screen right here. This is what they are saying the tank is all about. I mean, of course, your typical missiles going in, and of course not a lot within that trailer, kind of pointless to be honest. You saw it fired a missile, wow. But maybe we'll get some more intro as to what this vehicle is all about in the statistics. So as far as the actual tank itself, it looks like it's going to be a super fast vehicle. So 80 kilometers an hour this thing can do with a power to weight of 30. So super fast. Definitely going to be able to trundle its way around the map. I mean, it looks like a very interesting one. Now, I have no idea if this is going to be overpowered. It's got no armor, so it is a glass cannon. It looks like it's very small in the game. You can see a big picture here. I mean, it looks very small, and so it's going to be a bit of a pest, I think. But as far as the actual tank itself, you have 10 degrees of gun depression, which is kind of nice. I mean, as a small tank, it's going to be even better. You have a reverse speed of 32 kilometers an hour, so fairly fast as well, going backwards, which always adds some nice little flavor as to trying to run away and then, of course, relocate and then fire some more missiles at your opponents. But what else do we have? Well, we have a silver bonus of 65%, so it's one of the highest earning silver bonus tanks in Cold War, which is really nice to see. And of course, you're going to be able to take advantage of that to maybe come away with ridiculous amounts of silver, especially if you're taking advantage of the most recent silver bonuses that are available. And of course, in the future, if we ever get the silver with interest operation again, then this is going to be amazing, I think. But how does this tank actually fare in terms of damage? Because you guys are always very interested in that. Well, of course, the standard rounds have 800 penetration with 1300 alpha, and the premium get 1000 pen with 1430 alpha. So premium rounds get more penetration and more damage? Of course, then an aim time of 1 second, so really fast aim time. Accuracy of 0.26, because why not? 2.4 rounds a minute, which is really decent. Reload time of 25 seconds to be able to do 1430 damage, which is quite long, but you can get this down significantly with all of the boosts that you can do within the game. You can apply, your advanced loader. You can apply your rapid loading in your perks as well. So all of this combined, you'll probably be able to get your damage per minute from 3,120 base, probably in the region of about 3,700. Of course, looks, I don't know whether you can use ventilation on this thing, since you could boost up the damage per minute even more, which you might want to do just to be able to dirt more people. But yeah, I mean, overall looking like a pretty fun tank, which is something that can't be said for a lot of vehicles. And I'm going to try this out. We'll be doing a video for you guys this week where we'll look at this vehicle in totality, see whether or not it's as good as it looks on paper, whether it really is stealthy, whether the speed limit really does live up to 80 kilometers an hour, as I'm sure it probably does, since it only weighs a minute amount because it has no armor. So I imagine this almost like a car with a massive rocket launcher on the top of it. Of course, no armor. You're going to get penned by HE rounds. So I'm almost thinking of this like a M51 Ontos, but at like the top tier. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what this thing is actually playing like. Not so much of a fan of the premium rounds, since they literally do more damage and more penetration, because Wargaming, and it's not even that the shell becomes slower or anything. The standard round shell speed is 329 meters a second, and the premium shell speed is also 329. So there appears to be no negatives to firing your premium rounds in this thing. yeah, I mean, it's a pay-to-win vehicle, but remember, you will be getting extra silver if you do pen, so you may as well just fire premium is my thought. You're not going to lose money by firing premium with this thing, so I wouldn't worry about that. View range 590 meters, so I mean, ridiculous, so it's going to be really, really fun to use. Of course, you could boost that up even further. You could play it with a full camo build. I expect the camouflage rating of this vehicle to be very good, since it's quite small, quite agile. Yeah, I mean, look at it. I mean, you can almost compare it to something like an EOC even 90, but with obviously a missile launcher. It looks like it's going to be that sort of size. Now, we'll have to verify that in game. I think it will probably be more of a tool vehicle than obviously the EOC even 90, but you can imagine it like a bit of a pest, I think, within Cold War. So this vehicle, it's in the game. How much is it going to cost you if you do want to purchase it, since it's a premium, of course? 10,700 gold is the asking price, which is, I mean, it's not the worst, but it is expensive, as I always say with these. I mean, pretty much every single premium in the game is about 10,000 gold if you want it straight off the bat. So I guess, you know, for a tank that's going to earn you a load of silver, if you are interested in making silver, then it's probably worth it. If you're just purely basing it off of the silver, if you're after the most competitive vehicle, then maybe you could make savings in terms of the gold value by picking up a bundle with multiple really good tanks down the line. And of course, if you aren't a Cold War player, then maybe you could pick up a World War II vehicle that's more competitive for about the same price. But yeah, still really, really looking forward to seeing this one in the game, even if it is another missile tank that's could potentially be a little bit annoying for the majority of players, unfortunately. But it is what it is. Hopefully it is not like the Centurion AVRE that we've recently seen in World War II, but I hold out no hope. But there we go. The Weasel 1A1, if you want to buy it with the fully loaded bundle, 12,800 and 14,800 with the top bundle. As always pick the middle bundle. The top bundle just gives you equipment that is basically charging you at the gold cost for the silver value that the equipment would be in, and it's usually not that great of a value for money, so just no point really. And then, yeah, I guess we can move on. I mean, you've seen the tank. We'll give a full review, like I say, in a video coming this week, so stay tuned, as that'll be an interesting one. But other than that, what is the new free vehicle? It's not actually new, and in fact, you can actually earn it as part of the Season Pass, which is, I mean, I don't know why Wargaming do it, but the Season Pass gives you the 59 pattern this season, and of course then they're releasing another contract to get a tank that you can already get in the Season Pass, albeit this is the skinned version of the tank, so you could get both versions. I don't know. I mean, Wargaming, why? Why not at least save it to the next season or season after or something? But this is a tank that's been in the game for a long time. It's essentially a 59 pattern, which plays very much like the normal pattern in the game, the M48 or something like that. Except this is a Chinese version, so imagine an M48 pattern at tier 8 that's Chinese, so just worse in probably every way. But what do we actually have in terms of statistics on this vehicle? Well, we can have a look since it's already in the game. Wargaming have published it. It's a premium tank. You can pick it up. And the asking price normally is 9,800 gold. So it's always nice to get a free vehicle. I'm not going to complain about getting a free vehicle. It would have just been nice to have one that we weren't getting in the Season Pass anyway. Yeah, I don't know. But 212 pen, it's okay. 240 alpha, kind of nice. 250 premium pen, I mean, it's okay. It's going to be an okay tank. I wasn't particularly that enthralled about this thing. I feel like the problem with it is that it just doesn't have any armor, so you basically get penned by everything and anything, and you just don't do enough damage or damage per minute to really warrant playing this over some of the other mediums in the game. So yeah, I'm just not a big fan of this one, but you guys, you might find it different, and of course you can leave your comments in the comment section down below as to what you think about the Legion 59 pattern or the 59 pattern in general. Yeah, very interested. Of course, how do you actually complete it? Well, you're going to have to do the typical stages. And how do we do the stages, you might ask? Well, of course, it's the arduous task of just getting tons and tons of XP. And in fact, in order to be able to get the XP, you have to complete a set of challenges all the way through. You may have certain ones that require you to get assistance damage. You might have certain ones that require you to get destroying tanks, for example. Some of them just require you to get XP. So for example, stage 4 right here, you need to assist with spotting damage totaling at least 2,300 in any number of battles, destroy one or more light tanks or mediums in any number of battles, and earn 16.8 thousand XP. And then as you get later and later, it just becomes harder and harder, and the challenges become more and more ridiculous. And I mean, for a tier 8 premium that you're basically getting from the season pass, you're having to earn 362,400 or more XP in any number of battles for just the last stage. And if we combine that with the fact that you have to do the previous stage, which requires 170,000 free XP, or XP even, not free XP, sorry. So that's what, like, combine those together, 520,000 plus another 80,000, call it. So yeah, 600,000 XP plus 37,000, and then yeah, you're probably looking in the region of about 670,000 XP played within this. Plus you're going to have to do all of the other missions that come along with it. Let's just say, if you aren't going to complete this just by playing, it's not worth playing an extra amount to stressing your heart out just trying to get this thing. It's not worth it, I can tell you right now. His tank is not particularly amazing. You'll get it having ground out so much XP, or, dedicated so much time, and then you realise the tank is pretty bad and that you could have just got it by playing and getting to season rank 75, I believe, or it may be season rank 100. I believe it's season rank 75 or 70, but either way, you can get it as part of the season pass. It's just an unskinned version. But yeah, I mean, this tank... I don't think it's going to be very good, but you guys can obviously make up your own mind. Maybe you'll love it, maybe you'll hate it, but I certainly wouldn't be sweating my arse off trying to get the pattern stage 8 complete. And of course, then Wargaming can also say that you can buy stages, which doesn't really make sense when the final stage is going to cost you 10,000 gold when you can just buy the tank for 9,000 gold. It actually blows my mind sometimes. But yeah, I mean, Wargaming, what the hell? I mean, if you wanted to buy the entire tank from the beginning, you'd be spending, what, like 16,000 gold for a tank that is genuinely worth 9,800. I mean, it's only Wargaming's pricing that's coming out here, but there you go. Not particularly the best earn operation that I've seen in ages, and in fact, probably one of the worst earn operations, but it's free. There you go. Don't worry though, because Wargaming's selling tactics are continuing with the Valkyria Chronicles. Again, they're selling the Edelweiss and the Nameless, and they are okay vehicles. I wasn't particularly too much of a fan of any of them. I believe the Edelweiss was the Nameless was the better of the two, but I mean, they're not particularly fun tanks, very sluggish when you play one of them. I believe the Nameless, the heavy tank, is pretty slow or sluggish. Even if it has 50 kilometers an hour, it turns like an absolute boat. And then you've got the Edelweiss, which is like a faster vehicle. I've done reviews on both of them before, so you could always look back on the channel. And maybe I'll do a review this week or this upcoming week on the two, just so you guys know what they're about. And if you see a lot of them in the game, you'll know how to take them out, which is probably more of a thing to be understanding. But yeah, they're 30% off, not the worst deal in the world. But yeah, at the end of the day, it is down to you whether you want to part with your own money. And while the sale is live, apparently there's a 25% vehicle XP and 50% silver bonus when playing them and dealing 200 or more damage. So literally just playing the game and not being a bot and actually managing to hit one person with either of the vehicles will give you an extra 50% silver whilst playing them. So yeah, kind of nice to have. But don't sweat it if you don't have the money or don't want to spend any money on the game. These aren't particularly broken, so I wouldn't worry about it. Anyway, moving swiftly on, we then have the information for what Wargaming have given us for the next week. And there is one operation that has come back, and I'm really looking forward to it, as always, when it comes around, and that is String Theory is back next week. So finally, we've got String Theory back. Of course, String Theory is the operation whereby if you get multiple wins in a row or string wins together, you can get extra XP, and you might think, oh, maybe you'll get an extra 25% XP or 50% or double XP or something. No, for however many wins you streak in a row, you will get an extra 100% XP, up to 500% XP if you manage to win 5 games in a row. It starts off, I believe, with when you win your second game and you'll get 200% XP. Then if you win the third, you'll get 300%, 4 wins, 400%, 5 wins, 500%, so 5 times XP. And then on the 6th win, you'll continue to get 500% XP. It doesn't, like, if you won 29 battles in a row, you're not getting 2,900% XP. It just caps out at 5 times. So yeah, really, really nice to have. Nothing too spectacular, you know, it's not the best XP operation that we've had. That probably goes to XP with interest, because that only counts for, because String Theory obviously have to get wins in a row, which for the average player, if you've got like a 48% win rate, which I think is the average win rate, trying to string together 5 wins in a row is probably not, it doesn't happen as often as, you know, being able to get 1,000 XP in a game, which the XP with interest does, and that applies to every single game, whether you win or lose. Obviously, if you lose with the String Theory, you don't get any extra XP. So yeah, you've got to definitely platoon up with some of the best players that you know, if you have friends on the game. If you don't, then good luck. I mean, I play always solo, so I usually take advantage of the String Theory to grind through some of the tank lines. And if you combine it with the premium bonus, which is the bonus at which you can get 50% more XP when playing a vehicle in the premium bonus event and challenge that goes on, they're literally available all the time. They're kind of like the on-track events where you can get an extra 50% XP, 50% silver. Right now on the game, I believe for one more day you have access to be able to get an additional 50% XP and silver when grinding towards the Soviet tier 10 mediums, including the 430, the 430U and the K91. So yeah, you can utilize that to your own gain, and hopefully you'll be able to string a few wins together. And yeah, it's a really nice operation and certainly one of the better ones. And then there is International Women's Day is next week. So to celebrate, you can find a brand new commander, Mary the Mechanic, being added along with even more in the store. Plus there's Commander XP to free XP conversion bonus. So 1 gold will bag you 32 free XP. So yeah, kind of nice. And Commander skill respec will be 50% off. So if you want to change all your skills in your crew, that should just be 10 gold for one singular crew skill, instead of having to pay 90 gold for all of them to be respec'd. Yeah, I mean, at least it's 45 gold now, so it's costing you less in gold if you do want to respec your crew and change some of the perks and stuff like that. So yeah, kind of nice. And then we have, I mean, you can pause the video right now if you want to have a look at the shout outs to various different players and the milestones and stuff regarding who has done the most damage in all of the tanks. You guys can see that here. But of course, we want the questions as to what Wargaming have been asked on stream. And so, number 1. Can Mark of Excellence percentages be added to tanks in the garage without going into stats to see it? So, Mark of Excellence and progress being shown in the garage did come up from the super testers, but there is no plans at the moment until we envision how we want to go about this. But yes, there is improvements to be made there. We understand the desire for it. So this would be a really good change. It would be super nice to see it in the game. I think it would be, yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you want to show it? I think it would be super, super good. But of course, Wargaming are focusing on trying to make some other changes in the game. Of course, you guys can understand what kind of changes those usually are, and they are usually payable stuff rather than stuff that they are not really going to make any money on. But yeah, maybe it will come as part of a utility upgrade that we all get, or kind of a helpful update where we actually get some things that are nice to have. But there you go. I guess we won't be seeing it anytime soon. ETA on the return of the Leo 2AV. It might return next month, so he may be able to be able to pick up the Leo 2AV. Would it be possible to reintroduce clan tags of disbanded clans back into the pool? So we disband clans as the clan tags are not allowed, so it would reintroduce tags that we don't want in the game, but for old tags that might be desirable, it's possible, but it's a manual process, so yeah, you're then not really going to see it. And then we've got a question, and this is probably a poignant question for anyone that's been playing World War II recently, and it says, is there anything we can do to nerf the AVRE? So we took a look at the damage done, and it's sitting at the lower end when compared to other tanks like the FV4005 or Guerrilla, and it's sitting at 50% win rate, so we need to leave this in the ecosystem for a while longer to get more data on this tank. We are seeing it flooded the matchmaker, but the average damage is in a good spot right now, and they'll revisit this tank and see if changes need to be made. So essentially what they're doing is saying, yeah, there's nothing wrong with this tank. It's actually worse than the FV4005, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I mean, the tank is just horrible at the moment. I think the armor just makes it annoying for 90% of players. I think it's an annoying tank. It was not what I envisioned when they said about it. I thought that what they'd made it into is a tank that was far slower, more sluggish, had horrible dispersion when you're moving to make it more of a derp gun, that could go forward, had a little bit of armor, in fact has quite a lot of armor frontally for people that don't know about the weak point, which is either the turret, where so you can pen as usual in the Centurion turret, or you can also pen the upper hull where you have the little bar on the front, so you've got the big dozer thing. Just don't even bother firing at the dozer thing at the front, the plow. You can shoot underneath the plow if you're looking up into it, or if you're on a level playing field with it and you're far enough away, you can shoot the lower plate underneath all of that, straight in the middle of the tank, underneath the little plow. You can pen, or you can go through the little gaps in the plow on the top of it to be able to hit the upper hull of the Centurion, and hopefully your pen, maybe it will go into the plow and you don't do any damage, and then it's going to slap you for 1450. But hey ho, I guess it's balanced, and it's worse than the FV4005 and the Guerrilla right now. There you go. That's what Wargaming have said, and they're not going to do anything at the moment. So the Centurion AVRE is here to stay. Yes. Okay. Anyway. When is Japan and France coming to Cold War? So France this year, but no plans for Japan as of yet. So not looking like Japan is this year. Can you add fog or extreme weather to Karelia, as you can shoot spawn to spawn in Cold War? We did feel it might be a concern on Karelia, but after speaking to Super Test, we agreed it would be a good map to keep in rotation for all Cold War. We've had conversations of how we can solve this issue like this on maps, but no further info yet. So, I mean, I noticed this when I tried out the Wolverine. I literally just spawned in and was just firing rockets and auto-loading into their base, and there was not a lot that they could do about it, and I was just sat in a bush. I mean, it wasn't particularly the most fun of gameplays that you'll ever see, but hey-ho. Any rewards for super testers? It's a voluntary program, and then there are no rewards, just helping to shape the game with your feedback. Yeah, so from me personally, my opinion on the super test is that I am not particularly a fan of it. I don't think a lot of actually gets really changed. I don't know how valuable it is to Wargaming, how much they actually take into account what is said in the super test. I mean, I feel like it's one of those things that is just, here we have a super test, look, we are trying to do what you guys say, we've opened it up to the public, and yeah, we listen to you, and then release things like the AVRE and the condition that they're in right now, knowing full well that loads of people are going to go out and buy this ultimate season pass and make money, and it's not particularly the most balanced tank in the game. You see things like the Tyrann, it only seems to be getting worse and worse with a power creep of premiums, and I mean, it's not the super testers' fault. I actually think it's just the fact that they don't really listen wholeheartedly as to some of the things that a lot of players will say in the super test. And remember, the super testers are not necessarily players that will understand how it's going to impact on the game. So when a tank gets released, these are players that could have, 46% win rate, or there could be 70% win rate, or they could have 50% win rate, or 52%. So then they are the vast range of players. So they're not necessarily all kind of try-harding in the game. They might only play a little bit. Some of them will play a ton. And so, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's difficult to say, like, one group shouldn't be able to have an impact on what is going to be done in the game. And, where do you draw the line? But, yeah, at the end of the day, I just don't think that they're going to listen a whole lot from the super testers, in my opinion. Obviously, you guys can have your own opinion. Maybe you think that they're doing a brilliant job with the super test, and that, having people sitting in there and telling them that this tank is overpowered, and then it comes into the game anyway and it's still overpowered. Either the tank was way too overpowered when it first went into the super test, and then it became less overpowered but still overpowered, or they just released it as an overpowered. Everyone said, no, this is bad, and then they still released it. Either way, we end up losing to having things like the Tyrann in the game and things like that are just plain boring in the gameplay. Like, they're not particularly enthralling to play, but they're also, like, just boring for everyone else in the game. So it's like a lose-lose situation to have them there. And I mean, someone sitting in spawn with a Tyrann that does you for 950 when you're trying to push, it's not very fun for me personally. And I mean, it doesn't inspire fun gameplay either, since you know that they're there and then you have to play a lot more passively, and it just becomes a bit of a stalemate in my opinion. But it is what it is. Any plans for Cold War contract? It's a little too early, but later this year we'll bring in some more Merc tanks. I will just leave it at that. So there'll be some Merc tank contracts coming into Cold War potentially. Guys, watch out. We've had them in World War II, and we all know what the machine was like when that was released. But there you go. Can the shell speed of the M50 Ontos be increased? No plans as of yet, as it's currently performing quite well, but they'll continue to monitor it. I think the Ontos was fine when I played it. I don't think it's not that bad. Pausing, paging, keeps resetting after battle. Can you address this? I think there's a ticket on this, so we'll try to follow up on it. So yeah, that'll be done. Any updates on GUP tanks? We have to have meetings with the IP holders to get licensing and ability to sell these again, so there's no more info on these tanks. But we do have some licensed vehicles coming in the near future. Cold War medals, yes, we are working on it, but no dates to announce. So, I mean, they'll be coming hopefully in the next update, maybe the next season. We'll see the introduction of Cold War medals, maybe. And will the War Stories campaign return? Unfortunately, no. Its usability by players dropped, and as we thought about returning more maps to the game, we needed to decrease the game's data size too. So I'm assuming that, I believe that there is a restriction on how big a free game can be on Microsoft. Now, this might be complete speculation, it might be absolute BS, but I'm pretty sure as a free game it can only go up to a certain size, and I think that that's why back in the day when we had on 360s and on PlayStation 3 you could only have a game so big when it was free, and that's why a lot of the times we didn't have all of the maps in the rotation, because it was not possible to have them all. Now, that might be complete speculation, maybe that's wrong now, maybe that was only a case for a certain period of time, I don't know. You guys can obviously try and badger Wargaming. I will try and get a response on that and see whether or not that is still the case. But yeah, or maybe it's just a case of they just don't want to have the game being as big, so people who are new to the game don't want to have to sit there for hours and hours and hours waiting to download the game and then come on and play one game and then leave again because they were already annoyed that they'd had to wait so long, and then they get hit by a Panzer V4 in the first game. But yeah, either way, I guess that they're trying to decrease the game size, which I don't have a problem with. I mean, there's no point in having like a 200 gigabyte World of Tanks, since it's just a pain in the backside to install and update and stuff. But there was also a little update as well. So content changes. We've obviously got the Weasel, the Legion 59, the Valkyria, International Women's Day, the K9 Veterans Day starting on the 10th of March, and some ×3 XP boosters, along with the deal of the week being the Leopard 1A1, which is a premium vehicle for Cold War, which I actually really like. I believe it's in the Era 2. So yeah, really like that vehicle. And then personal offers, so 50% off, will be Klimov Commander, the M41 Brazilian Bulldog, and the TS5, all of which are fairly okay. So no complaints there. Hopefully you guys did understand everything that we talked about. If you didn't, please leave a comment in the comment section down below, and either myself or someone else will try and help you out. And hopefully that gives you a rundown on what Wargaming have released for this next month, including the new Weasel 1A1. What do you think of this little vehicle, about this little rat tank? Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what you guys think, and yeah, let me know in the comment section down below. And of course, hopefully you have a fantastic rest of the week. If you don't join me back for some more videos, I hope you have a fantastic week, and I will be streaming on Friday, so hopefully you guys do enjoy that as well, and I will see you there. Goodbye.